Hi guys, it's Jody. Today's video I'm going to be testing out different paint brands for the cell activator. Normally I'm using the Amsterdam brand, the titanium white or other colors, but I've never actually tried a lot of other paint brands. I have tried the Josonia titanium white and the carbon black in the past, but I always go back to the Amsterdam because it just mixes up so well. I've also tried the Atelier interactive titanium white, but it took forever to mix up. But I know other paint brands work, and I was posed a question, well, why don't you use anything other than Amsterdam? The reason I don't use anything other than Amsterdam is because it's just super easy to mix in with the Australian Floetrol and also with the US Floetrol, and it's pretty cheap. I buy it on Dick Blick, and I think it's under $5 for the 4-ounce tube. So I have gathered every titanium white and black color that I have in the studio, save for one. The Liquitex, I didn't have Mars Black, so I used Payne's Gray. So I have 13 paints mixed up with the Australian Floetrol as cell activators to test today. How am I going to accomplish that without this being a 3-hour video? I speed things up a lot, and fair warning, there is going to be some music, but I am going to come back at the end of the video and go through all the tiles that I did. I'm going to use 4-inch tiles just as my kind of specimen. And I'm going to be using the same colors. I think I have a blue and a turquoise and a lime green mixed up. I had them mixed up for something else, and I had a lot left, and I thought, okay, I will just use these colors for my tests. They'll go a long way. It's just a 4-inch tile, but those are going to be mixed with the Infinity Josonia base, and then I will show you the consistency of each cell activator that I mixed up, as well as the tube. So it kind of goes in a bit of a process order here, but it's gonna kind of move super fast. And my whole idea was, I'm not too concerned about composition. I'm more concerned about how it blows out, if it's reactive initially, and then how it dries. Does it dry weird? I wasn't too concerned about spinning it out, getting too much paint off, waiting for the middle to pop back up, all that good stuff. This is just really, how is the cell activator performing? So I hope that this is beneficial. Let's go get started. And I'm back to show you the dried results of all those trials. It was a lot, but it was informative, and I learned a lot. Just, you know, a lot of them seemed to work really, really well. I had a few favorites. There was a few that dried a little bit funky, but keep in mind the tiles that I'm about to show you, I wasn't looking for composition. I wasn't waiting until the center popped back up, and I was just spinning to cover the surface. I didn't care if paint was left on it. I was looking for the reaction, the initial reaction of the paint, and how well it was sinking in. Was it keeping cells? Was it dissolving? All of that good stuff. And before anybody asks, I will be doing a video in the future with the US Floetrol cell recipe that I have. It's not going to be right away because I've got 13 cell activators now to use up before I mix up the next batch, but I promise I will certainly do the same video for the US Floetrol cell activator recipe. I know the Australian Floetrol some of you don't have, or you don't have access to, but it is getting easier to find. The Fluid Art Company is now stocking it if you're in the US or Canada, so it kind of takes some of the shipping waiting away, because you're paying, I think they have it now for like $49 plus shipping, local shipping, so it's not as expensive. But also take into consideration, a liter goes a long way. I literally just finished my first liter I ever purchased last week. Let that sink in, how long it lasts and all the testing I do. I did take a couple of months off, maybe three and a half months off of painting, but it lasted me a good 11-12 months, I would say, for a liter. You know, and just regular normal painting, it might even last you a little bit longer. Also, while I wasn't able to test every single paint brand, I started with all the paints that I have here in my studio. I've got so much paint, it's ridiculous, and I mean, it amassed 13 different ones. So if there's any that you're curious about or that you have, I encourage you to test it and see if it works on your own. As I'm able to get more, I will probably test some more, but at this time, this was what I had in my studio. So I know there's going to be some questions if, you know, when I didn't do worked or not, and I don't know the answer to it yet, but I'm going to say it probably does. You know, it's really a variance of, does it work well or does it work okay? There was one on this list, I think the last one that I did, the Fine Touch, it didn't react well, and it could have been a bit thicker, but it just looked weird to me. At any rate, now I'm going to show you all the results. All right, so the first one was the Liquitex Titanium White, and it reacted really nice, as you saw. Got a little squirrely, but again, I was not worried about any of that. And any pouring medium will do this if you don't allow it to come back up and you don't take up, you know, there's steps you have to do for this, but I'm not worried about this so much. I just wanted to see how, you know, how the cells popped up. You know, the lines are pretty strong, and the colors, you know, it didn't have like it didn't dry weird or have this what do you call it, flocculation or anything. It reacted well with the paints being used, the other paint, the color paints being used. So that is the Liquitex T White. I have everything written on the back, and I have everything in order here so I don't forget. And then the second one was the Liquitex Payne's Gray, and this one was one of my favorites. It reacted really nice, and it dried super nice too. Nothing weird going on. Most of them did pretty well, except for a few, and I will point those out. That one is a favorite. And this third one is the Winsor Newton Titanium White. I don't know if it was a little bit thinner, because you can see it was kind of dissolving a little bit, and as it was sinking down. When I say dissolve, I mean it's just kind of disappearing. It's not strong of a line. And that could be just because of the mix, not necessarily the paint you're using, but the cell activator itself could be just a little bit thinner, and you might just need to add a little bit more paint. I mixed all of these, and I don't know if I said this already, I mixed all of these at a 4-to-1 ratio. My normal way that I mix it, and if it felt a little too thick, I added a little bit more Floetrol, or if it felt a little too thin, I added a little bit more paint. In this one, as I mixed all of them up, I went and I, said, okay, these are all pretty good, but sometimes it could be after doing one or I didn't test them on anything. These were my tests. Okay, maybe here, this one, I need to add just a little bit more paint for it to be a little bit more solid. So those are things to just keep in mind when you're mixing your own cell activator. But otherwise, it dried really nice. Worked really well with the other paints. All right. Number 4, this is the Arteza Mars Black. And this one worked, it reacted really nice. A lot of the black ones, I'm more partial to black cell activator. It just, I don't know, it reacts, sometimes it just reacts better, and maybe it's just me. But this is just, it's just beautiful. And it dried really nice. I didn't really, yeah, it dried really nice. So that is the Arteza. I didn't have Arteza titanium white, otherwise I would have tested that too. So I'm just gonna assume, since the black worked really well, that the white works just as well. And maybe some of you can tell me if you've used it. Is it successful for you? All right, the next one is Atelier Interactive Titanium White, and this was really responsive. I mean, you get all these little baby cells, and I mean, this was a really good one. I have used the Atelier Interactive, both the black and the white, before, but it's a thicker paint, so it takes a lot longer to mix in, and I get frustrated, so I don't use it. But don't let that deter you. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. So this one is a winner chicken dinner, one of my favorites. And it dried really nice, reacted really well with the other paints. Okay, and then the Atelier Interactive Mars Black. Again, it just got a little squirrely, but we're not worried about that. It just, all different types of cells in here, and reacted really well, and it dried super nice. Okay, Josonia Titanium White. Another one that I knew would work, as I had tested this prior, but I hadn't used it in a long time. And it's some paints are easier to mix in than others. Most of them are, but that Atelier is definitely one, especially if it's a thicker paint. This is a thinner paint. It's similar to the Amsterdam, so it mixes up really nice, and it dried really nice. It had the initial reaction was awesome, so as you saw. So there's that one. And then the Josonia Carbon Black, again, another one of my that I marked with an F behind it for favorite. It responded really well, and it dried nicely. In fact, I don't think I had a bad one that interacted weird or wrong with the colors mixed up with the pouring medium. These all seem to have dried really well. So there's that one. And then this one is the Acrylic, which it's a cheaper student brand paint from, it was the pint bottle. Here, I'll show you. I used to, when I do kind of regular acrylic pours, I like to use, sometimes I like to use this, but it's their economy line, but it was one of my favorites, and I had no idea. So it was a nice surprise to find. I think it's, for this pint, it's maybe $5 or $6 on Dick Blick online, at any rate. And it was a bit thinner. I did notice when I was using it, I could have added some more paint, but the response was just wow. I didn't take off some paint up here. It cracked a little, but that's okay. Otherwise, looks good. And then the same brand, actually this was probably my favorite out of all of them, the Acrylic, the Mars Black. it just responded like nobody's business. I mean, I got the microscopic cells, like microscopic peacock cells, which I don't think the camera will pick up, but they're there, and it just responded really well. I got some cracking, but again, that was just too much paint left on, and it dried really nice. So there's that one. 3 more to go. This one was the Golden's titanium white, and I only had the tube, the heavy body. I didn't have a fluid, or, and usually you, since you're, well, you know what? I don't know. Maybe I should try a fluid as a cell activator. I might do that in a future test, or if I get it for the US Floetrol cell activator recipe test, I'll do that. But all of these were tubes as opposed to a fluid. Might be hard to thicken up, so I'm gonna think about that. I digress. This one is the Golden, the titanium white, and I mean, it reacted really nicely. I did get some where it was kind of dissolving a little bit, and this also could be how you're blowing. It's not only your cell activator. If you see all of your paint, your cell activator just sinking and dissolving, it's probably something to do with your cell activator. But if it kind of dissolves a little and stays, but other parts are thicker, it could also be how you're blowing it. I'm trying to give you tips as I'm thinking of them. So they might be random and a little haphazard, but this one dried really nice too. And okay, this is the Master's Touch. That's the brand, the Hobby Lobby brand, Master's Touch. This was permanent black. And this one, I was pleasantly surprised. It reacted really nicely and dried super, super crisp. And finally, the last one, which I'm not crazy about. It's another Hobby Lobby brand. I think it's by Master's Touch, or a line of Master's Touch. It's called the Fine Touch. Let me get the bottle. This is the Fine Touch. It's in a bigger, more, well, it's a bigger, but it's a thicker paint too. It's in a bigger bottle. So good price. I was hoping it would work, but I'll show you in a second. But then this is the Master's Touch, what that looks like. That is Hobby Lobby. So this one is the Fine Touch, that big bottle I just showed you. And as you saw me trying to blow it out, it just didn't want to come up, and it got these weird cells in the middle when I was blowing it with my straw. So it could have been a bit on the thicker side as well. Maybe I just needed to thin it. I might play with it some more, but this one is not one of my favorites. Maybe if you have it at home and you've tried it and you like it and it works well for you, that's awesome. I'm just doing tests just to show you my own experience. So that one, it did dry really nice though, but the initial reaction I just wasn't crazy about. Whew, we made it. That was a fun experience. It was fun to experiment with all of these, and I'm excited to do it with the US Floetrol cell activator recipe in the future, which I definitely will. So I hope you found this helpful. Please let me know in the comments below what you thought, or if there's other paints that you use that you're successful with. I'd love to hear other brands, and as I'm out shopping, if I'm able to get some more, I'll add that to my arsenal. So I might start using different, well, I will be. I have 13 batches mixed up to get rid of, so actually 12. I might get rid of the last one just because it did not work at all, but all the other ones, they worked great. So you'll be seeing me use those in upcoming videos. So I hope you found this video helpful. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching.